Welcome back to you. We've got the latest business news now, of course, with Owen Fairclough. Lots of company earnings out today.
Absolutely, Stuart. And if you needed a reminder as to why Spain's banks need up to 100 billion euros of emergency funding from the EU, here's why. Santander, one of the big ones in Spain, reporting second quarter profits down by some 50% to 1.7 billion euros. So one of those banks that desperately needs some help to offset the losses from that property crash in Spain. A few others. There are loads of earnings out today. I've just picked out the ones that interested me most. Royal Dutch Shell as well. Their net profit down again, about a similar amount, around half, down to just over $4 billion. So really feeling the pinch of that decline in oil prices we've seen over the past couple of months or so, around a 20% decline. And Visa as well, last but not least, having to pay heavily for settling a $6 billion litigation in the United States over credit card handling fees. That's really eaten into its performance for the second quarter, reporting a loss of just over $1.8 billion, in fact.
Okay.
The markets I'll give you as well, Stuart, just briefly while we're talking numbers as well. We can put the boards up. The European markets, pretty choppy at the start of the day's trade. The IBEX is once again off by around 0.5% or so, but you can see the CAC Quarante here in Paris just managing a few gains. And the Asian markets finally, the Nikkei ending the day nearly 1% up after a week in which the Nikkei has been down by some 5%.
All right, well, let's pick up on a few more business headlines now. Peugeot's credit rating has been downgraded a day after reporting first-half losses of 800 million euros. Moody's said the French car maker's overcapacity contributed to its downgrade. The government is trying to stem Peugeot's decline by offering subsidies of up to 7,000 euros to buy electric and hybrid cars.
The US Treasury Secretary has admitted he knew interbank lending rates had been manipulated. Timothy Geithner told the US Congress that he'd urged UK authorities to act over the rigging of the LIBOR exchange during the financial crash of 2008. The chief executive of Barclays was forced to quit after the bank confessed to the fraud. Up to 20 other banks were allegedly involved.
And Facebook is expected to post earnings of around 12 cents per share on revenues of around $1.1 billion. The world's biggest social network has tried to water down expectations by warning that it's struggling to increase advertising sales on mobile sites. The company has lost nearly a quarter of its share price since its $100 billion flotation in May.
Now, London hoteliers and landlords thought they were in for a big payday for the Olympic Games in the UK capital, anticipating what they thought would be unprecedented demand for accommodation. But in some areas of London, the reverse is happening. Empty rooms just a day before the opening ceremony are forcing prices sharply down.
John Wagner won't be running any races, but this hotel owner will be coming out of the Olympics a winner.
If you'll take a look at the window, you get a sense of where the two hotels are in relation to the Olympic Park.
That prime location means a full house this Olympic season.
LOCOG has contracted to take nearly all of our rooms through the Olympics and then further on the Paralympics.
Demand is so high in the East End of London that some hotels in the neighbourhood have quadrupled their prices. But at the other end of the city, an expected Olympic bonanza has failed to materialise.
Compared to last year, bookings are very much down by as much as 50%.
Hotels that are further from the Olympic venues aren't attracting ticket holders, but they're also missing out on their normal trade as many tourists decide to avoid the five-ring circus.
Yeah, there has been a drop in sort of organised tour business just because they were concerned about availability and pricing during the Olympics.
But it's not only hotels that are vying for Olympic trade. One London homeowner, Tricia Jones, is renting out her shed and a tent in her garden. Much cheaper than a hotel, but as yet there are no takers. British summer weather may be to blame.
We discussed it earlier. Owen said he'll have the tent and I'll have the shed. It's not too bad, is it? Owen Fairclough with the business here on France 24. Do stay tuned if you possibly can.